everybody, and welcome to RAMP, Real Access Motivates Progress live Wednesday night podcast. We have a fabulous show for you tonight, but we do every week. But tonight is one that is near and dear to me because I got to actually enjoy one of these bike rides last year and was so proud of myself for completing the ride. So tonight we have Karen and Suzanne from All Outdoor Adventures and the Blackstone River Valley Heritage Corridor. Welcome, ladies, and thank you for being on our show tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina.
I am so excited to talk about these accessible, adaptable bike rides that we have going on. But first off, let's everybody know who we are, what you do, and where you're from. So, Karen, let's start with you. Let's give us a little lowdown on who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Karen Foster. I'm the Executive Director of All Out Adventures. We are in Northampton, Massachusetts, and we're a nonprofit organization. We run outdoor recreation programs for people of all ages and all abilities. And when I say all ages and all abilities, I really mean that. We've had from toddlers and young children up to our oldest participant so far was 99. That's a record waiting to be broken. In a typical year, we run about 180 outdoor recreation programs year-round, typically throughout Massachusetts. I'm excited to come down to Rhode Island this year. Our programs include kayaking, canoeing, cycling, stand-up paddleboarding, snowshoeing, ice skating, cross-country skiing, and hiking. And we serve people with disabilities, including physical disabilities, developmental and cognitive disabilities, autism, as well as people with psychiatric needs as well. We serve seniors, which are, for the purposes of our programs, adults 60 plus. And we also have a federal grant to serve veterans. And so through that grant, we serve veterans of all eras. And we just take a tremendous amount of pride in making the outdoors accessible and easily accessed. We recognize that everybody who's coming out has a really different purpose. For some people, they're coming out and they want to challenge themselves to ride the whole Blackstone River Bikeway. Other people come out and, they want to do one lap around the skating rink. So we really are able to tailor our programs in the way that we're doing our work to meet people where they're at. We place a big emphasis on community. We have families take bike rides together, or spouses where maybe one has a disability, a stroke survivor, Parkinson's, something like that, but they're able to take bike rides as a couple. And so it's really, really rewarding when you see family members, friend groups, be able to come out and do activities that are really inclusive of people who have disabilities, and sometimes that can be harder to access, and yet I know what I do is I take bike rides with my family. We go ice skating together, so to be able to make these opportunities possible where it's not just the people with the disabilities that we're serving, but, we're serving their loved ones and their family as well. I joined the team at All Out Adventures in 2004 as a program leader. I've been the executive director since 2007, and there is nowhere I'd rather show up to work every day.
That's incredible. And that last picture she just showed, that was me on the bike. So that was kind of cool to see that. But yeah, these bike rides are absolutely incredible. I did one last year and I had so much fun. And you could either pedal a bike, be a secondary on a bicycle built for two, or sit on the front of it and have somebody ride you down the bikeway. Any way you do it is so much fun. But let's get to Suzanne. Suzanne, let's hear everything that you do and how you got involved.
Okay, so is this an hour show? You want to know everything? Nah. Well, hi, everyone. My name's Suzanne Buchanan. I'm the volunteer coordinator for a national program that every unit of the national park has a program for, we call it Volunteers in Parks. And our volunteers, we call them VIPs for short. So I've been having the pleasure for the last 6 years is managing the Volunteers in Parks program on behalf of the Blackstone River Valley National Historical Park. And I work for the nonprofit, the Blackstone River Valley National Heritage Corridor. I even get confused. And so I play matchmaker. As the volunteer coordinator, I find the time to listen to our volunteers, what their passion is, what they want to volunteer for, and we make it happen. And we have so many different ambassador programs, but the one that brought us to this program is we have the Blackstone Heritage Corridor Bikeway ambassadors. And the Bikeway ambassadors, they ride as a group every Wednesday evening. Traditionally, we did up until 2019, the end of the season. And we call them rides of discovery. And when we go for the rides, it's no more than 7 miles round trip on a Wednesday. And we stop and we learn about the river and what the dam's name is and what mill powered for is nearby in the canal. And so we had that really going at a good pace. And then they dedicated a section of the Greenway from Blackstone through Millville to Uxbridge. And the Bikeway ambassadors met in Uxbridge in October of 2017, and we rode to the event in Blackstone. And going one way, it's about 3.5 miles. And we had our uniforms on and bright orange. And when we showed up, it was like, hey, what's all going on? And we dedicated the Bikeway. And one of our longest serving volunteers, Margaret Carroll, she was at the time 93 years old. She passed away last month at 97. But she said to me on the side that on my number one bucket list would be the opportunity to see the Bikeway from the seat of a bicycle. And she said, I know that's never going to happen. But, just so you know, I was on that very first planning team that planned the Rails to Trail, taking an old abandoned railroad line and working to get it as a greenway. Well, she got to see it become a reality, but not in person. So you never know where the power of a conversation is going to go. So with that tucked away, we all had a great day and off we went. And by making a few phone calls, that property is managed by the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation. And I asked if I could take Margaret for a ride on a golf cart to show her the Bikeway. And they said, oh, why would you do that if you could maybe take her on an adaptive bike ride? And I said, I wouldn't even know how to do that. And they said, well, the state park has a universal access program, and they work in partnership with All Out Adventures. And we just might be able to grant Margaret her wish because they had a couple rain dates that were canceled in the season, and they had a couple makeup dates. And so this is how I got to meet Karen with All Out Adventures, is we took Margaret Carroll for a ride to see the resources that she works so hard to preserve from the seat of a bicycle. It was a tandem accessible bike, and off we went, and Margaret asked to stop along the way. She had stories to share with us. Margaret was an elementary school teacher for 37 years. So that traditional 35-minute bike ride took us 3 hours. And you know what? No one was in any hurry. No one was in any hurry to finish. And when we got back, we thanked Karen and we said, this is not the last time. This is only the beginning. And we have had a wonderful opportunity to partner with All Out Adventures and our volunteers to invite people, as Karen said, of all mobility limitations to come see the resources of the Blackstone. So last year, everything was put on hold. And this year, we're ready to rock and roll with these adaptive rides that we'll be talking about. And who's in? I am.
I will be there.
I am.
Can't ride this year. Yeah, I can't ride this year because of the COVID symptoms. I'm COVID free, but with the COVID symptoms, they won't let me ride. But I will definitely be there cheering everybody on and doing on-site interviews. But Karen, tell us a little bit about all the different bikes so people do not feel intimidated. Like, no matter your ability, or if it's a spouse that wants to go with somebody with less ability. Tell them how that they can work in all the different types of bikes that you guys bring.
Yeah, let me start by saying I've been doing this work now for 17 years. And in 17 years, I have yet to come across a person who couldn't ride a bike with us. Never happened. So we have it. We have hand cycles for people with lower body mobility impairments. We have recumbent trikes, have 2 wheels in the front and 1 wheel in the back. They have high seat back support. So those, we're looking at one right now. That's a tandem recumbent trike. And on this one, the pedals are connected together. So somebody, say with, a cognitive disability that would prevent them from being able to pedal consistently, or somebody with lower body weakness, the pedals are connected together. So the person in front can be providing some additional strength. Also, the person in front is steering, braking, and shifting, but they're both working together. We have another version of this same bike where the pedals are not connected. And so that is great for people who need to be able to pause and rest, who can't have their legs going around at the same pace as their other rider. And then we have recumbent trikes, different styles. We have some that are lower to the ground, that are a little more reclined. We have some that are higher off the ground. We put assist bars on the front so that people can get up and down independently. What we're looking at right now is called a wheelchair tandem. And this, for somebody who needs to be passive in their recreation, they sit in the wheelchair seat in the front, and a person on the back pedals, and that's a battery assist. And so that's really tremendous for caregivers who may be concerned about their own stamina and ability to pedal a bike with the weight of their loved one in the wheelchair seat. The battery assist can make that possible. We have pedals where we can attach people's feet securely, so we don't need to worry about their feet coming off. And it's really remarkable. Like, you'll see somebody maybe who has Parkinson's, who walks with a cane and has tremors, and it might take them several minutes to get from their car to walk to the bike path. And then they sit down on the bike and they're gone because the rhythm of pedaling overrides the brain impulses that cause the tremors. So they're gone. Or you'll see a stroke survivor with hemiparesis. So they've got one strong leg and one weak leg, similar, that, they're walking maybe with the assistance of a cane. They get to the bike, we securely attach their feet, put it in the right gear, and they're gone. So the freedom of cycling can really, come with a variety of mobility impairments. And additionally, those tandems, I forgot to say when we were looking at it, can be great as well for people who don't have the impulse control to stay to the right on the bike path, steer, brake, and shift. So that can be really wonderful, say, for somebody who has autism. They can ride with a loved one and get all the sensory input and the pedaling without any of the safety concerns. So what we do our best to provide the cycle that's going to get somebody the highest level of freedom and independence while still being safe.
I believe last year, or not last year, the year before when I went, I tried every one of the bikes and I enjoyed every one, because even the one where the pedals were connected, even though I have no use of my lower half, the gentleman who was riding in front of me was pedaling, but my legs were getting the exercise. Even though I can't move them or I can't feel them, my legs were doing that motion because they were strapped to the pedals, and my legs were getting that exercise. So was I propelling it? No, but I was getting that extra exercise by moving my legs, and it helps with so many, tendencies of muscle atria. But there's a picture of me riding my hand cycle last year, not last year, the year before, and enjoying it. So I really had a good time doing that. Suzanne, tell people how they can get involved, and whether it's a volunteer or they can sign up for a ride, because I know there's a couple of rides coming to Rhode Island, which is fabulous.
Right. So we do have a series of 7 rides that are scheduled with All Out Adventures, and there'll be 4 veterans rides. One Saturday ride is, so here's the veterans rides. The veterans rides will take place on Tuesdays, starting this Tuesday, April 13th. And as you see the schedule, you can always look for this information on the Heritage Corridors website, and you'd want to call All Out Adventures, you need to call them to schedule a time for your ride and to talk with Karen, because Karen, you just don't call and leave a message saying you want to go for a ride. What involves when they give you a call, Karen?
Sure. When people call, or they can do it by email if that's easier, depending on when they think of it. We find out what time they're able to make it because of COVID right now, to limit the number of people in the base area. We're having people arrive in 15-minute increments. So somebody will arrive, or a pod or family group will arrive. We'll get them set up. 15 minutes later will be the next group. So that's one. And then we ask them questions. What is your mobility like? What is your leg strength like? What's your range of motion? Can you get up and down from a lower seat or a higher seat? We kind of go through all of those questions to do our best to match people to a cycle over the phone, because I think something that people don't always think about is, so we're driving out from Northampton with a van and a trailer. We're bringing about 12 bikes with us. So I have to make sure I reserve the correct bike for the right person, so that if somebody else comes, the bike that they need is available. So we sort of play matchmaker with matching the bike to the person, and to make sure that, we do our best to reserve the most appropriate bike. So when somebody gets there, they go through all the effort of coming out, that the bike they need will be available for them.
And what number do they call, Karen, if they need to call you to sign up?
Yes, they can call at 413-584-2052. 413-584-2052. Also, to know, I have young kids who are not in school, so I'm working remotely. So email, if you can do it, is an easier way to get me all hours of the day. And that's kfoster@alloutadventures.org. It's there on the screen, kfoster@alloutadventures.org.
That's fabulous. So, Suzanne, tell us about a few other rides that are coming, other than the veterans rides.
Sure. And the fun one, they're all fun. But one we're really excited about is the Saturday, April 24th, is that this was being planned. And here's the beautiful flyer. And come to find out, Saturday, April 24th, is Celebrate Rails to Trails Day. And we were like, what? Come on, we're planning this bike ride. And now we find out it's Rails to Trails. And we're riding on what was a former railroad line that is now a trail, a bike trail. So then we heard the news that our longest serving volunteer, Margaret Carroll, passed away in March. And we are dedicating this ride in her honor. So we have the opportunity to take folks for a bike ride. We have Margaret's family coming to help volunteer for that day. And volunteers will not be riding the guests like in the past, but they will be on their own bikes chaperoning the riders, so that if there's any questions or hesitation, the volunteers have all been trained to ride these bikes. But with the social distancing, they'll be able to chaperone, go for a ride, stop, talk about the river, the canal, and different history pots along the way. So that's the 24th, awesome. and that is on a Saturday. And we hear that that's a very popular day that is filling up quite a lot that day.
Actually, Suzanne, I just had to put a note on the calendar late last night that the program is full at this point, so people can call or email to be on a waiting list. But that day is booked to capacity. It's awesome. So, except that I'm sorry, there's other days though. Yeah.
Oh, there are other days. So see, It's sold out. It's free, but to know that people are really ready to go out and get some fresh air. They respect that our program has been put together with making sure that everybody, is feeling comfortable, that is in a safe environment. And I couldn't be happier to see these. My goal is to fill all the seats on the bicycles for all the programs. And, if the veterans ones aren't as popular right now as that Saturday, the 24th, think about these, because I was talking with one of our younger volunteers, and I knew that his grandfather is a veteran. And I said to him, what about you taking your grandpa for a ride as a veteran on the Bikeway that day? Talk about making a memory. So if any of the viewers are listening right now and said, oh my goodness, I'd love to take grandpa for a ride, or Meme, and let's get them out. I mean, they love it. We had one gentleman that took his dad out of a nursing home when we could go in 2019. His dad worked the railroad lines for his career. And to his surprise, he took his dad on a bike ride on the railroad line. And talk about, tears of joy. They're going to happen again this year. We may be wearing masks, but the eyes tell it all. The eyes will let us know that people are smiling and really happy to be out. And
the mask will stop up the tears. So as they fall, the mask will stop them up. You're all good. See,
absolutely. But
purposes for these masks.
I know. But knowing that now Saturday is open, the listeners that are tuned in today, we have 2 more rides that will be happening in Rhode Island. They'll be departing from Lincoln, and those are on May 4th and the 18th. Here's the flyer right here. So we will be departing from the Front Street parking lot of the Blackstone River Bikeway in Lincoln, and you will have your choice to enter the Bikeway and go to the right and go over this beautiful, magnificent bridge. Was a railroad bridge at one time. It's the Pratt Dam, and you can see in the background the tubes that allow the water to flow from the river as it continues on. So, I mean, there's so much history and scenery to be seen. So if you're thinking you might want to do it, you really want to give Karen a call so we can include you on this. This is Karen's first time to Rhode Island doing an adaptive program. So we want to give her a big Rhode Island welcome from the little estate, if you will. But another fun thing is that Tuesday, May 4th is Rhode Island Independence Day. We celebrated our independence before the rest of the colonies did on the 4th of July. So what better way to celebrate? Tina, you always bring the party. Well, we're going to have, if you will, our own little quiet party celebrating Rhode Island Independence Day as we feel independent, going for a ride on the bike. And, I'm getting giddy already.
Well, let me tell you, Lincoln is my stomping grounds, and that bikeway I used to take my kids on when I was little, because that bikeway was there and it was right near my house. So I could tell you all about that bikeway, and I don't have to be 90 something to tell you all of the adventures that we have had on that river. And you will also on the 4th and the 18th get to meet me, because I will be there on those rides, just meeting and greeting and handing out some of our life-saving red bags. So we'll tell you about that a little bit later, but you'll get to meet me on those rides. So call today, email today, get your ride booked, because you are not going to want to miss out on this. I'm telling you, it's so rewarding and it's so much fun. Like I said, I think I tried every bike when I was there, just because I wanted to, one, have my picture taken on every bike, because I think I'm cute. I don't know about anybody else, but I also wanted to try what was the best bike for me. And I got to try them all out, and I made so many nice friends that now I'm lifelong friends with, that I still email, that I check in during the pandemic last year. I met some of the riders, we email, we check in on each other. So not only are you going to enjoy and get healthy and enjoy the beautiful scenery, you're going to meet a new person. You're going to meet a new friend. You're going to meet somebody and hear their stories. And I'll tell you, it's life-changing. You just need to do this. It's just so much fun. What are some of the questions, Karen, that you find that people are a little bit hesitant, that you can put them at ease before they get there?
Oh, sure. Oh, what a great question, Tina. I've never ridden a bike before. How am I going to do this? That's one. Or my loved one has never been on a bike. They they have good balance. I have no idea how they're going to participate. That's probably the most common. And so the recumbent trikes and the pedals we use really address that need. Another one we get is, I can't ride a recumbent, they're too low to the ground. And so even at this picture we're looking at, this seat is 22 inches off the ground, which is the same height as a standard toilet, not an accessible toilet, but a standard one. So a little lower. And then there's bars in the front, you can see just above this person's legs. You can use them like the armrests on an easy chair to get up and down. You can really raise and lower yourself using those assist bars. So that's huge. Another one, and people don't necessarily articulate this, but I know there, which is, I'm not going to know anybody. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this thing. It's really kind of scary to go to this new event where I've never met anybody, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the activity. Yeah, maybe I won't sign up. And so we work really, really hard from first contact, and it's not even work because we just love doing it. But first contact, email or phone, we'll talk to you. We'll make sure that the situation you're coming into is one where you'll feel at ease and successful. And the volunteers who are coming with Suzanne's program, they're going to greet you and they're going to say hi and they're going to get to know you. And I promise, if we've talked on the phone or we've emailed and I've recommended a bike, that bike's going to work for you. And if it doesn't, then we'll switch and we'll grab something different. But there's a way we can make this work. And everybody coming to their first time feels that kind of uncertainty of, I don't know these people, I don't know this activity, is it for me? And that's something that we're really mindful of, and we really care that people have a comfortable, confident experience when they come.
It's so great. And what I want people to know is I was uncomfortable because, like I said, I haven't ridden a bike since I was in a wheelchair, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it. So I was kind of uneasy. I mean, I'm an outgoing person, and I was kind of uneasy. So I can see people who are less outgoing. The difference is they give you enough freedom to be by yourself and figure it out, but not too much room where you feel panicked and that you're by yourself. There's always somebody riding by you, or they can ride on the side of you. They can give you as much distance or little distance that you're comfortable with. If you voice how you feel, like, I think I got this for a little bit, they'll kind of watch you from a distance and let you kind of go on your way. So don't feel like you're going to be hovered over. And if you can't, because I said to them straight out, I don't know if I'm going to make this trail. I am in no shape. I have no idea if I'm going to make this trail. And they kind of just guided me and watched me. And luckily, knock on wood, I did it. And I was very proud of myself. But there were some that had to turn back early. And there's no judgment. There's no, shame in that. There's no, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but you're comfortable. You automatically feel, and you're so surrounded by the water and the trees and the bikeway that I don't know how you can't have a good time, because the scenery itself is just gorgeous. Suzanne, give us some of your feelings of some intimidation that you have heard that you could help people overcome.
Oh my goodness, when we first started, it's like, what did I get myself into? I mean, there was so much to learn. And we took a van load of 12 volunteers up to Northampton for a day of training, and we all received training and etiquette and how to work on the equipment. And I was like, okay, we got that going. And, by mentoring, how better to have Karen and her team as our mentors to share with us the confidence that they have. And they probably said the same thing at first. Suzanne has these volunteers. What do you think they can do? Well, you know what? We unload the vans. We set up the bikes. We cleaned out their toolboxes. We wiped down the helmets. We pop up the pop-up tent. We do the registrations for them so that they can talk with the clients and the guests all they want. And before you know it, this is really funny. We do have a really good system, but our volunteers were so excited every morning to get the program going. I know Karen's laughing because, see, we get it all set up. But Karen, when they pull up with the van, it's like Santa Claus came with his sleigh of gifts, and all the volunteers want to tell them how to back the van up and where you should do. And so Karen had to get out and say to us, okay, all of you go sit on the fence over there and let me just get in the parking lot, and I'll tell you when you can come over. And that's been our joke. So we were so excited. So then we let now Karen pull in, and we look, and she goes, and then we all run over, and we're so excited to get everything going. But was that funny, Karen?
It's hysterical.
I mean, everybody had something, even one of our volunteers, while people were on a ride and he had a little downtime, Joe, he organized your toolboxes for you, where you were like, can he come to every single one of our rides? Because, if you're listening to this show and you're a mechanic, or you have time that you want to be part of this, we welcome volunteers to do that. You want to have your heart filled with joy. This is the volunteer program to volunteer for. It's so we have grown to all know our roles, and there's not a doubt that when Karen and I say, hey, I'm thinking about applying for a grant for these programs, because that's a really good thing to talk about. How do you get the funding for these programs? And we have each written grants for them. And knowing that I have the opportunity to work with All Out Adventures with the equipment and the technical services they bring professionally is amazing. But then Karen knows that with her limited staff, she knows that she can call on 6 to a dozen volunteers who have been trained to support her when she comes to the Blackstone Valley.
Right.
My goal is if you could bring up the flyer for May, the May 4th ones. I'd like to show that it's not just All Out Adventures in the Heritage Corridor doing this. It takes so much partnerships to get to present these programs. And here you go. It's that you see all the logos of the Heritage Corridor, the volunteers with the National Park Service, the Bikeway ambassadors, All Out Adventures. This particular 4 rides were funded by the National Library of Medicine of New England. We have Bike On, who will be providing technical assistance, and we get to play in the playground of Rhode Island DEM. So look at all the people that we had to call and say, we're thinking about reintroducing programming. What do you think? We're thinking of these days. What do you think? And every step along the way, people thought, it's time. It's a good program. You're outdoors. You have a social distance plan. Let's make it happen. And I'm telling you, all the stars aligned, and we have 7 programs. That's amazing. We didn't take one down. Just say, we're going to do one and see how it goes. I've been saying lately that it takes courage to be creative. And we got really creative with presenting these programs. And people are stepping up to the plate, putting on their super heroes capes, if you will, and we're ready to do it. Karen, that's new amazing. Uniforms. I think we have to think about superpower capes.
Oh,
just as you were saying that, I have a beautiful Wonder Woman outfit that may show up at one of the rides. So, Wonder Woman in a wheelchair may show up at one of the rides. Just saying. And I also have Super Dog, because I have the Superman one for my service dog. So Wonder Woman and Super Dog may show up at one of the rides. Just saying. You never know. You never know what you can expect.
Imagine the possibilities. But we will be careful to make sure they don't. We'll make sure that, how you have to keep your pant leg tucked in so it doesn't get caught. Yeah. We'll make sure the cape is safe too.
Yeah. See, we're all good. Karen, walk us a little bit through your website. Show people how to get to your website and some of the key things that they need to know on your website to get to these rides.
Sure. So it's alloutadventures.org. And right there is a page. And if you look under the tab that says Our Programs. Then the second line down is our schedule. You can click there. And scroll down a little bit. Keep going. Right there is our calendar. And if you hover your mouse over anything that you see there, and actually this is interesting, might be interesting to the people watching and listening tonight. Up on Tuesday, April 20th, there's a spring programs info session and Q&A. And that's just a chat with me. I'll kind of go over our COVID protocols, our bikes, a little bit like we're doing here, but very specific to all of our programs, Q&A. So if people are interested in learning more, that's a chance to do that. And then if you go back, the link to join is there as well. If you go back up to where you can see the month, right there. This to trip people up. To the right of where it says April 2021 is a little arrow up to the right of it, right there. Yep, click that to get to May. So that's how you can kind of go month by month. Our program schedule is there through June. And then back on that green line again, if you go to the tab that says About, and then the fourth one down, Contact Us. And that is a form you can fill out, send us a message. And I always like people to know that form comes directly to me. So All Out Adventures, you should know this, we're really small. There's 2 of us who work full-time at All Out Adventures, and then we have 5 amazing program leaders who run programs as they go. But what that means is when you're sending an email through our website, it's coming directly to my inbox. I'm the one who gets that. So I wanted you to know that. And then, oh yeah, dear Karen, love to come to a program. And then, tell us a little more about yourself, to start the conversation about joining. And then back up under the Our Programs tab, if you go down to the fourth one down, Adaptive Cycling, it's probably a little bit outdated at this point. Scroll down on that. Oh, I'm sorry, up a little bit. I'm like talking with my hands here. Right there, there's a blue button that says See Our Bikes. And click that. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll start to get a good sort of picture and overview of some of the bikes that we use. And this is the caveat, this is outdated. So some of these bikes are available to us in Hadley. But again, it just kind of gives of some of the possibilities for riding. So just to make sure that folks know that those are there. We don't bring them all out to Central Mass and Rhode Island, but those are possibilities there.
That's fantastic. And like I said, this is something that everybody definitely needs to be doing. Suzanne, is there anything on your website that you want to go over that you want to make sure you point out for people to check? So we can pull out your website and give us 1 or 2 things that you want to make sure people check on their tabs.
Sure. If you're on our website and you go to, let's see, now. Okay, let's go over to Exploring. And then here is that you can, if you say there's nothing to do today, well, you can go explore. You can find maps and tours, self-guided paddling trips. You can find out all the Bikeway for the access. You have the opportunity to learn about our volunteer programs, interactive maps. So with all that, we have so much going on for the Heritage Corridor. And then you can go on to these programs. You can look at some self-guided walking tours. You can learn about our communities. You can be inspired by our photo gallery. You might after me talking and listening tonight, you might want to go over and click on volunteering and see what the volunteering button has to offer. It's not just about biking, but we have birding and biking. And there we go. We have our Bikeway ambassadors that many will be in uniform, meeting and greeting and chaperoning on that ride as well. So and then for our events, is that we can take you to the events is the second one over from the left. And then you can scroll down and see all these flyers. You can print a flyer out. You can share it with someone if you want to say to a buddy, hey, let's go for one of those bike rides that they were talking about. Here you go. There's the flyers that we have there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. One last thing before we get to final thoughts is, Karen, go over with everybody the COVID safeness that you're going to be taking on these bike rides, so people know what when they show up, they're going to be safe. So give us a quick overview of what the safety protocols for COVID are going to be.
Sure. That's something that we take incredibly seriously. So everybody who comes to a program, staff, volunteers, program participants, will need to wear a face mask or covering the entire time that they're there. Of course, people will pull over and take their mask down to breathe and put it back on. But face covering is really important. We have a portable hand washing station. So we'll have soap and water there for people to wash their hands when they arrive. We do maintain 6-foot distance, and when this kind of weird time where some people have been vaccinated, some have not. So we just act as though all of us are unvaccinated at the moment. So we do keep a distance. We'll talk people through how to do things for themselves. We recommend people bring their own bike helmets if possible. If not, we bring helmets out that we clean after and then don't reuse that day. So we can loan helmets if needed. I think those are, and then the limiting how many people are there. So this will be a smaller program than people are used to seeing from us. One of our own staff protocols is that only one of us is in the van at a time. Usually 2 or 3 staff members will come out, but I'll be coming up by myself to meet Suzanne's wonderful volunteers. So for everything from staff to participants to volunteers, we'll be paying attention to face coverings, hand washing, and maintaining a distance. And so also people are arriving in 15-minute intervals to reduce how many people are gathered in any one spot at the program, so that we don't have people sort of waiting around other groups to get set up on a bike.
So you're going to be safe. You're going to be enjoying some beautiful scenery. You're going to get some exercise. You're going to get some learning in. Why not do this? I don't understand why there would be any reason why anybody wouldn't do this. So make sure that you are calling these ladies. You are emailing these ladies. You have their websites. You have their emails. Contact them. Get yourself booked on one of these rides. Yes. And like I said, I might just show up. A Wonder Woman might just show up on one of these rides, so you never know. So make sure you're booking today so you can not miss out on that fabulous opportunity. As we're nearing the end of the hour, Suzanne, give us your final thoughts. Let us tell everybody what the most important thing that you want people to take away from this experience.
Well, I have to keep reminding myself that this year we're doing things differently. And it's not going to be a big party like we have had in the past. Karen, you'll be like, whew, good. You attended them. So with knowing that we're not like cheering like the NASCAR races finishing at the finish line, and we will be cheering you on. My goal is to, again, see those smiling eyes. And for people who were not able to access the resources of the Blackstone River, to be able to access it from a seat of a bicycle and say, what took me so long to give this a try? And for them to then want to continue using the resources. That make me really happy. I'm just really happy to have a program and be out. Even if I have to run alongside the bike, I just might,
I think you have.
Yeah.
So
I think I have to.
Karen, give us some of your final thoughts, like the biggest thing you want people to take away and why they should take this leap and try this.
I saw, it was a meme. I love memes. But one that said, you can't be on a bike and not smile, something along those lines. But try it. Like, try to ride a bike and not smile. I mean, maybe unless you're going up some monster hill, I can't even imagine doing it. Riding a bike is just fun. For those of us who've grown up riding hopping on a bike again brings us back to that childhood freedom, right? I watch my 6-year-old and he's gone. He can go faster, further, more independent than he can on his feet. And for people who never learned to ride a bike, they get a chance to get that experience, or if a disability or an injury or an illness has taken away the ability to ride, you actually can still reclaim that. And it's bonding for families and friends, and it's freedom, and it's fun, and it's access, and it's possible.
That is so amazing. Like I said, it was one of the best experiences of my life. I think I showed up for 3 of them. I had so much fun, and just meeting and greeting everybody. It was just a great day of great memories that I will never forget. Suzanne, quickly just give us the bike dates for the 7 rides. If you could just kind of run down the dates for us so everybody knows what the dates are.
Absolutely. Drum roll, please. Starting on our first ride. They'll all be on Tuesdays. Thank you. We'll be doing starting Tuesday, April 13th and 27th, May 11th, and June 1st will be our veteran rides, and they will all be leaving from the Worcester Heritage Center right off 146 in Worcester, Mass. And if you haven't been up there, come on, Worcester is not that far. You don't have to pack a bag, Rhode Islanders. But think about taking a veteran out. Right. Think about going for a ride with a veteran. You'd be so happy that you did. And then
Rhode Islanders still pack a bag, trust me.
Okay, you can pack a bag. And then we have our April 24th ride that is sold out for Rails to Trails Day. And then we have 2 rides in May in Rhode Island leaving from Lincoln, and that will be May 4th and May 18th. And if you want in, and there's no charge, you want to talk to Karen. Karen's the one that's going to be the matchmaker. And then we'll show up, and I'll be the one to meet and greet you with the volunteers. And I'm just telling you, the rest is just magic.
Karen, give us your phone number and your email again so everybody knows how to sign up.
413-584-2052 or info@alloutadventures.org, or the K Foster at alloutadventures.org is fine too. They're the same.
So these are your emails. That is your phone number. No excuses, no problems. Beautiful day, great exercise. Look at you get to be with these beautiful ladies and all of their fabulous and funny volunteers. I want to share a quick story because after I think it was like my 2nd ride, this gentleman shows up with the coolest bike ever. The front wheel was huge and the little back wheel was about this big. And I said to him when he got there, how do you even get on the bike? And let me tell you, it's not an easy feat because it took him 3 tries to get on it. And oh my God, it was the coolest thing. So you never know what's going to show up and what's going to be at one of these rides. The people are friendly. They know what they're doing. It's COVID safe. You're outdoors. So isn't that a thing now? You got to be outdoors to have fun. Well, these are all planned outdoors. You have no excuse. Take a veteran for a ride. Mom, grandma, papa, whoever you want to. Get the family out there. Go out and take pictures. And you know what? If you just want to fill your heart, go for a walk on the bike path on these days and see the smiles of these wonderful, amazing people riding these bikes and how happy they are and how you can volunteer. Because I'm sure you can call Karen or Suzanne and they will not turn you away to volunteer at any of their events. They will give you some training and they will volunteer. So, and if I show up at a ride, I will be bringing my red bags, the ramp red bag that carries all of your medical information on you at all times. That's non-tech based. That these are perfect for bike riders. You clip them to your seat, and if anything happens to you or somebody needs to be called, you have all of your medical information on you at all times, and no one needs to know it but the EMTs and the doctors who are taking care of you. So I will be bringing a bunch of these with me along to the rides that I show up to, and we will be passing these out. I can't thank you ladies enough for being on our show tonight, and I hope, Karen, unfortunately, I want your phone to be ringing off the hook. I want your email to blow up, and I want these rides to be all sold out. It's free. So when we say sold out, we really mean just register and show up. Money isn't even a factor. All you have to do is get there. So get there, be popular, be cool, join the rest of us, and have a good time. Thank you so much, ladies. I'm so honored to be your friends and be part of this. So thank you for letting me be part of this. And I just want to thank you for being on our show tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Gosh, that went by really fast, you know? So thank you so much, Tina and Karen. I look forward to some magic happening.
When
Sounds
you're having
good.
a good time, it goes by in a blink of an eye. And I just want to make sure I invite everybody back for next Wednesday, because we know every Wednesday at 7 o'clock is Tina time and Ramp. Real Access Motivates Progress. Next week, we will be talking to the Rhode Island Disability Coalition and all of that they do in Rhode Island and how they bring resources and training to the disability community in Rhode Island that I am a big part of. So I cannot wait to share all of what the Rhode Island Disability Coalition does. So be back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. live with Ramp, Real Access Motivate Progress. In the meantime, get out, make a smile. Don't just sit there, make a difference. Have a nice week, everybody. See you next week.